A long time ago, in a land of endless sand and golden sun, there lived a traveler named Abdullah. Abdullah was a kind man who spent his days traveling across the vast desert. His only companion was his large, strong camel. They had traveled many miles together. They had seen many sunsets and walked over 1,000 dunes. Abdullah trusted his camel, and the camel trusted Abdullah. One afternoon, the sky began to change. The bright blue turned into a dusty gray. The air became very still and very heavy. Abdullah knew this sign. A great sandstorm was coming. In the desert, a sandstorm is a dangerous thing. The wind blows so hard that the sand feels like tiny rocks hitting your skin. It becomes impossible to see and even harder to breathe. Abdullah quickly stopped his camel. He worked fast to set up his small tent. It was a simple tent made of thick cloth, just big enough for one person to lie down and be safe. He pushed the wooden pegs deep into the sand. He pulled the ropes tight. Just as he stepped inside and closed the flap, the wind began to howl. Outside, the world turned dark. The sand hissed as it hit the sides of the tent. Abdullah lit a small lamp. He felt safe and warm, but he knew his camel was outside. The camel was sitting on the ground, pulling its legs close to its body, trying to hide from the stinging sand. After a few minutes, Abdullah heard a soft sound over the noise of the wind. It was a low moan. Then, a voice spoke from just outside the tent flap. "Master," the camel said. His voice was sad and shaky. "The storm is very bad. The sand is blowing into my nose. It hurts, and I cannot breathe. Please, kind master, may I just put my nose inside your tent? Your tent is full of clean air. If I can just put my nose inside, I can breathe easily. It is such a small request. My nose takes up no room at all." Abdullah looked at his small tent. He looked at the closed flap. He felt sorry for his friend. "You are right," Abdullah said. "Your nose is very small. It will not bother me. You may put your nose inside." The camel moved closer. He pushed his long, leathery nose under the flap. He took a deep breath of the clean air inside. "Oh, thank you, master," the camel sighed. "This is much better." Abdullah went back to resting, but the storm grew even louder. The wind shook the tent. Half an hour later, the camel spoke again. "Master, my nose is very comfortable now, but because my nose is inside, my head is now catching all the wind. The sand is hitting my ears and my eyes. I can feel the cold desert night starting to freeze my brain. Since my nose is already in, would it not be okay if I put my head inside too? My head is not much bigger than my nose. I will keep it very still in the corner. It will not take up any of your space." Abdullah thought about it. He wanted to be a good master. He thought, well, his head is already right there at the edge. It won't really change anything. So he said, "Okay, you may put your head inside, but only your head." The camel pushed his head through the opening. Now the tent felt a little smaller. The camel's large eyes looked around the warm room. Abdullah had to move his legs to make room for the camel's neck. Time passed. The sand kept hitting the tent like rain. Then the camel spoke a third time. "Master, you are the most generous man in the desert. My head is warm and I can breathe well, but I have a problem. My front legs are getting buried in the sand. If they get too cold and heavy, I will not be able to stand up tomorrow. Then how will we continue our journey? If I just bring my front legs inside, I can stand over you like a bridge. I will not take up your floor space. I will just be a protector for you. It will make the tent stronger against the wind." Abdullah was starting to feel a bit crowded, but he was worried about the journey. If the camel couldn't walk, they would both be stuck in the desert. "You make a good point," Abdullah said. "Bring your front legs in." The camel stepped forward. Now half of the camel was inside the tent. The tent was stretching. The cloth was tight. Abdullah had to sit up and huddle in the corner. There was no room to lie down anymore. The smell of the camel was very strong now, but the camel was not finished. "Master," the camel said, looking down at the man, "I am almost all the way in, but my back legs and my tail are still in the storm. Because the flap is open for my body, the wind is blowing right into the tent. We are both getting cold now. If I just bring my whole body in, we can close the flap completely. Then the tent will be perfectly warm for both of us. We are friends. Surely we can share this small space." Abdullah looked around. There was almost no floor left, but the wind was indeed coming in through the gap. He was tired of arguing. "Fine," he said. "Come in all the way." The camel groaned and pushed. He wiggled his heavy hips through the small door. The tent poles bent. The fabric groaned. Finally, the whole camel was inside. He was so big that his fur touched the top and all the sides of the tent. The camel looked at Abdullah, who was squashed against the back wall, unable to move. "You know, master," the camel said, as he made himself comfortable on Abdullah's soft blankets. "I have noticed something. This tent is actually very small. It is much too small for a giant camel and a man at the same time. Since I am bigger and I need more room to rest my tired legs, I think it is better if you stay outside tonight. You are small, so the sand will not hit you as much as it hits me." And with one gentle push of his shoulder, the camel bumped Abdullah out of the tent and into the freezing, dark sandstorm. The camel then settled down and went to sleep in the warmth. This story tells us a very important lesson about our lives. We call it the camel's nose. It teaches us that we must be very careful about the small things we allow into our lives. Many times, a bad habit or a wrong choice does not start big. It starts small, just like the camel's nose. We think to ourselves, "It is just a little thing. It won't hurt anyone. I can stop whenever I want." But once we give in to that first small thing, it becomes much easier to give in to the second thing, then the third. Before we know it, the camel is all the way inside our tent, and we have lost control. If you enjoyed this story and the lesson it brings, please subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you help us bring more of these classic tales to life. Also, please leave a comment below. We want to know, have you ever had a camel's nose moment in your life? How did you handle it? We love reading your stories. Thank you for watching, and stay safe in your journey.